Hello, amazing ladies. Welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your host, Kylie King, the founder of Australian Ladies in Business Initiative. And today I am so excited to be joined by the incredible Kaylee Kimpton from Real and Raw Photography based in North Brisbane. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Kylie.
So let's kick it off so the listeners know. Can you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Perfect. So I'm Kaylee. I'm 25. I have a 5-year-old daughter and we're located in North Brisbane. After giving birth to my daughter, that pushed me to find my niche for photography in motherhood. I've always loved photography. I've done it since I was 12, but never found the right niche. But then just experiencing motherhood firsthand and seeing how fast they grow and just how quick the moments fly by, it just really pushed me to document these moments for other mothers.
No, that's a really good point. And they do go so so fast. Like the other day I looked at my partner, I was like, I have an 8-year-old. When did that happen?
Yeah, yeah.
When did she become 8? It goes by so quickly. So do you have do you only sort of do newborn photos or maternity? Do you specialize in something or you just like doing everything?
So pretty much everything motherhood related. So we've got labor, labor and birth is the same thing. We've got birth, newborn, maternity, family, cake smashes, basically everything in the motherhood circle, pretty much. There is like some other touchier subjects like funerals and things that I have documented and have been a part of. So it's really lovely being in a motherhood based business where mothers really trust you and open their arms to invite you into their families to document these special moments that they get to.
But I know what you mean because you're getting to take them on a journey too. So if mamas are coming to you and they first get pregnant and you're doing the maternity shot and then you're doing say labor or birth, I don't know if that's very common, but and then you're moving on to do the newborn ones and then the cake smash. And then as they get older, you get to watch this beautiful woman blossom into a mother. You get to capture that. And then also this little beautiful baby moving through the different stages of life.
So beautiful. And it makes me feel like a part of their family. I see my daughter every day. So I know she grows, but it's not until you have a time apart from other families where you then get them to come back. And then it's okay, you're not a little newborn anymore. You're talking, you're walking. I get to experience these moments with them as well, which is really special.
Yeah, how did you get all those hair and all that teeth? What happened?
Yes, and the personality and the attitude, it's just great. I love being told no when I want them to smile for a photo. It's great.
Yeah, and I love that. I think it's, showing them the photos too, because they don't realize how small and baby-like they were, when they get to the 3-nager or the 4 or the 5 and they're telling you no, and they're telling you that my 3-year-old at the moment is, I'm not a baby anymore, I'm a big girl. And, having her moments and I'm but look at this little baby newborn photo that I have when you were just so small and squishy and didn't tell me off for things. So
give me attitude. It's great.
Yeah. And she'll be like, no, that wasn't me. And it's something nice to just have her and go, no, this is, this beautiful thing. And then she's turned into this beautiful big girl now. So
yes.
But no, I think that's such an important thing because, you don't know. And in the blink of the eye, they're 8 or they're 10 or they're going to high school.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, that's just happened so fast. Time has gone so quickly.
Yes, definitely.
So what got you started? So the photography starting, that was all from your daughter? Just as soon as she arrived, you were like, this is how I'm going to do it?
Yeah, pretty much. So I have always loved taking photos. It's kind of a joke in the family that I always have a camera in my hand. I'm always taking photos of everyone and everything. So we got our first camera when I was 12 for Christmas. It was a family camera. Didn't turn out to be a family camera. It was a Kaylee camera because I never gave it to anyone else to use. So I would take photos of dogs, cars, landscapes, just anything I thought was pretty, flowers. And then I got into it for a little bit and then I started doing makeup and then that was my business at the time. And then I just fell out of passion for it. And then, I basically was working retail for 6 years, was kind of getting over it. Wanted to be my own boss and I was pregnant. So I was just the ability to work for myself and work from home and then not being like structured for another workplace. Like I feel like when you work for somebody else, sometimes they just replace you just because, like, there's not love, there's not
loyalty.
Yeah, like
they preach like, loyalty, but on their side, they don't give loyalty. Yeah.
Yes. So then having Paisley, I was like, okay, like I'm a mum now. Like I'm a mum. I was 20 at the time when I gave birth to my daughter, so still very young. But I didn't know what motherhood was going to be like. At the time, none of my friends were pregnant, or, you know, it was all like had second kids or anything to like give me experience or ins and outs. It's always like my mom or like older people from back when they were pregnant. And it's very different from back then to now. So I was very like, okay, but I struggled with postpartum for a very long time. So that was something that I struggled with, and then getting up to go to work and then the no sleeping. And it was just it was very too much, so much. It was just very overwhelming. So I then ventured into photography, and I bought my camera, and I was like, okay, experiencing motherhood, I know what depression's like. I know what going through labor's like. I just know how fast they grow, and their little feet then turn into big feet, and like all of that. Like it's just so fast paced. And during that postpartum time, I didn't want to be in front of a camera, like getting my family documented. And even when I was pregnant, just your body changing, just all of that, it's very overwhelming. And no one told me about that. So being in a motherhood-based business and now bringing my experience into my business, I get to relate to other mums who haven't had this support to be able to talk about the changes of motherhood, plus getting those photos documented. I don't want to push my families to get photos if they don't want to, or they mentally don't feel okay after birth, and that's totally fine. I love to give like a big open window, so it's not like, okay, you've just pushed baby out, let's get photos tomorrow type thing. Like I like them to be ready, calm, feel mentally ready, because I didn't feel like I had that support right after I gave birth. So I love just being like a support system to my clients, and then clients turn into family because they come back all the time. It's really great to just get a really good bond with them. I feel like I'm talking a really long time.
No, it's great. What you're saying is so important, and what you're sharing, because the the afterbirth part or the after baby, like you see your body grow and then it changes and it doesn't really go back to what it was. And I think that's the expectation that some women have, is like, yeah, it's fine, I'll just bounce back. It'll just go back to what it is. And it doesn't, because it's been such a journey in itself.
Yes.
So like I remember after I had my first daughter, and we had newborn photos planned, and the photographer's like, you need to get in the photos. And I'm like, no, leave me be. Like I'm not getting any photos. And even the day of the shoot, because I think they do with newborn, they say like in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, so it's like from fresh 48 to like 4 weeks, but I like to open my gap to 12 weeks, because it just, yes, they're a baby, yes, they're so small, and getting them straight in right away is good because that's how tiny they are. Like you get to capture how small they are, but then it's also like mums come first. Yes, it's exciting that babies are born. Yes, everyone wants cuddles. Yes, everyone wants this and that with the baby, but everyone forgets about mum.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me really sad and emotional, because mum is the main person of the ship. Like mum needs to be good. Mum needs to be great. Mum needs to be thriving, so then she can cater for baby, other kids, partners. Like I think it's because of my personal experience too. I don't feel like I had that a lot as what I could have. And I think I compare my story to other people's stories, but in a way of support, not like judgment, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I like them to know that like what you're going through, others have gone through, you're not alone, because I didn't have someone to talk to about that when I was first being a mum. It's a lot. It's very overwhelming, and I don't think I will have any more kids, because it was just it was too much.
It does get easier as you go. I think the first time, because it's such a baptism by fire, I guess. Like I remember having my first baby, and then them being like, here, you can take her home now. And I'm like, you're giving me this whole other thing to care for? Like, what am I doing with this? But then because I've got two more kids as well. So I know the second one was just like, oh yeah, she's good now. And the third one,
and then I was like, yeah.
Yeah, she's good. It's you sort of get to know it. But I do know when I had the newborn photography with my first, I didn't even want to show up because I was tired and I was drained. And I remember my partner saying, just don't go. And I'm like, no, we've paid for it and it's newborn. And I went. And then the second time, because if you get it for one, you got to get it for others. So that's something you need to budget.
Yes.
You can't just have beautiful newborn photos for the first one and nothing for the second or third or subsequent. Yeah. So then I went the second time and I had a toddler with me, which was just a whole nother game because she did not want to touch the baby and she didn't want to be involved. And she was too busy exploring the studio, which I think frustrated the photographer rather than in the photos. And it got to the point where the photographer's like, go and send her for a nap and bring her back. And hopefully that will change. And it still didn't change because she was like, I want to be the center, not this baby. So I think it is so important to put that mother first, because not only in that instance, I was juggling a toddler and a baby. And it was in that 2-week period of you've got to get in and get the photos done. And then by number 3, I just went by myself. I was like, Dad, you deal with that.
Yeah.
I need to just go and take her to do with it. But no, I think it is so important because you take on so much at that time. And as women, we always try to be the best to everyone and look after everyone else except ourselves, especially our little babies. And it can be very overwhelming. And doing the photography can be seen as another stress that we're like, do we really need it? But when you look by a photographer and you're catered for and they give a shit and they're cool with it, it makes the experience so much more beautiful.
And that's what I love about my sessions are really chill. Like there's no pressure. The kids don't want to cooperate. That's totally fine. I'll just follow them and what they want to do. I love that I'm not a posed type photographer. I'm not going to be like, okay, smile. Oh, kitty, look at me. Like I hate that. I absolutely hate it with a passion. And I love, that's why I named my business Real and Raw, because real and raw, like that is what I capture. That is what I love to capture. If Bub wants to go and pick up sticks and throw sticks, I'm going to document that. If Bub wants to sit down and take his shoes off, I'm going to do that. Like that's what documents them at that age and that stage of their life. And that's what they're going to remember when they grow up and look back at the photo. That was my favorite truck. That was my favorite pair of shoes. Not like that lady made me stand in front of a camera and smile for 5 minutes and I hated every second of it.
You can tell the difference with the smile too.
Yes,
you can tell the put on smile and then just that pure laugh or smile of just joy and happiness. So you can tell the difference anyway.
Definitely, yes.
So what would you say so far has been your biggest challenge in business?
I knew this question was coming and I do apologize if I cry. But I think being in a motherhood business, you know, I'm a mum myself, but then I'm also a photographer, but a mum as well to others. And I relate to people's stories and moments in their lives as well. And I feel like I'm a very sentimental person and everything that happens, I'm already getting like nervously. Okay. So I think it's just because I just have so much passion and love. I feel people's stories and moments a lot deeper than others might. There's a word for it, but I cannot.
Empathy?
Empath, that's it? Yes, that. Yes. So there's been moments during I'm shaking, moments through my business where I have been invited to document funerals or passings of babies and things like that. And it's very overwhelming, yes. But I feel like when you come to a job, there's like a sheet that comes up and you're just there. You're there to do your job. You're there to document that moment, be there for your families. But then when you get back to your car, it's just like a moment where the floodwaters happen and you just cry. And it's just like, it's a horrible moment for those families, but you've done something so special where you can you've documented that moment, and that's something that they're going to hold on to for years and years and years and years and years. Like, it's weird. I thought about it the other day. When I'm like 50, great grandkids are going to have these photos that I've taken of a special moment that happened ages ago in their lives. But I think too, being a mum too, my personal experiences also have troubles with my business as well. At the start of last year, I was expecting a baby, and unfortunately, I had a miscarriage. And within 6 days after my miscarriage, I was at a maternity shoot documenting a beautiful moment for a new mum. And it's hard to not like why isn't that me? That should be me. Like those thoughts come into your head. Like that's something you were meant to be experiencing. You're meant to be this far along. You're like, you get to do this in 6 months' time, like yada, 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 like that type of stuff. And that's like what's hard, because I kind of put my feelings and what I'm going through on the back burner because I'm a business owner. I can't just not show up. These are special moments for other families that I need to document. If something happens in their life and I wasn't there to document that, and then something happens after, like I would feel so guilty. And then my pop passed away last year, and then the next day I was at a family photo shoot. So it's just like, I don't put myself first. I don't feel like I ever have. I've always put my daughter first. I've then put my clients first, and I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel guilty, but I do feel guilty, if that makes sense. Like, God, I want to be there for my clients 110%, and sometimes I can't be, but I try to be. And I'm not going to tell everyone my life story of like what's going on at that point in time. Like I hide, I stay in my room. Like I'm, to be honest, at the moment in a very depressive state, but you can't be like that all the time and show everyone that. Like you've got to put on a smile. You've got to be a great person. Like it's just hard putting myself first before others. It's just a very guilty feeling that I could just never do. And it's hard to think that what I did isn't guilty, like not showing up or rescheduling. Like that's not guilty. That's not a bad thing to do. But I just feel it is. And I actually wrote this in a submission that I wrote in an awards thing, and for your awards last year. I don't know. There's just no words. Like I just have so much passion and love for my business and everyone around it. And having these hard moments in my life, I have to pretend they don't happen, even though they did happen. And it's okay that it happened, and it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to put yourself first. But it's just hard, I think. It's really hard.
It's very vulnerable. So thank you so much for sharing that vulnerability today. Sorry for both your losses. And it's also, you know, one, you should never feel, I know you've probably heard this before, you should never feel guilty about putting yourself, and you can never pour from an empty cup. And that is a challenge too, because as a business owner, you want to show up for everyone, for, you know, not only for, in your case, document their lives, but you want to be there for them. And then it's also the whole business of, well, I want to make sure that I show up because I don't want any negative reviews, or I don't want to get anything bad because I want to keep running this business and I love this business, and, you know, I'm supposed to do this business for whatever reason. But, you know, when you feel ready to share your journey and your story and being authentic, people respond to that. And it's so hard to be vulnerable and put yourself out there and go, this is me, and this is what I'm experiencing. And this is, and at first, some people will be shocked by your vulnerability. They'll be like, what? We don't share that. We just shove that under the carpet and we keep moving. But there's people out there that'll be like, you know what? Kaylee was so vulnerable and she shares this in her business. That's the photographer I need, and that's what I want. But also you have to keep in mind that you need to process, and I know you would have shown up to those photo shoots and you would have smashed it, because that's the way you are. And you would have annihilated it, and you would have given them exactly what they wanted, and they would have loved it. But also making sure that you're okay so that you can do the best to your A game, and taking that time to rest and process and go, okay, this is what I'm doing. And it'll happen. It'll get there, because it's easy to be vulnerable. We're always taught to sort of like wear this, what is it, like armor.
Yeah.
Almost like build a fortress, surround yourself with a fortress and have some armor there so no one else can hurt you or do whatever. But and slowly as that comes down and you start going, no, I'm going to embrace my journey and who I am and what I'm doing, the right people will come to you and the right clients will call. But even as a business owner, I think, and you know, what you shared today is very much why I started the ALIBI community, was because I was going through a really rough time. I was very depressed. I was juggling newborns and everything. I'd lost my identity. And I was like, I need to share with someone, and there's got to be people that are out there that understand, like, being a businesswoman is tough and you're showing up and you're not sharing your story, and there's a lot of stuff that doesn't happen behind the scenes, and you know, business is just awkward at the moment, especially in a lot of, you know, we went through COVID, then we went through floods and bushfires, and now we're going through a cost of living crisis, and
it's insane.
Yeah, every time we wake up, there's a business around us that is shutting down, or some of our friends are going back to work while they juggle the both of them. So there's a lot going on. And yeah, this is why I started that community to go, hey, here we can be vulnerable and it's in a safe space. And here we can share that sort of stuff. And I know, like, scrolling back on some of my posts when I'm looking for content, I'm like, holy crap, that chick was a mess. Like, she was a hot. But it brought other people in and that community grew. I think we're at 5,000 members already because they felt that connection and that vulnerability and they wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, but it's not easy and it's not going to happen overnight. So I think that's a beautiful challenge that you brought up. You shouldn't feel guilty, but you're going to because you want to be of service to others, which is such a beautiful thing. And it will take time, but that guilt will go. And then when you're ready, you'll be able to feel more vulnerable and share that. And if anyone judges you, Kaylee, just tell them to fuck off. Straight up.
Oh my God. Honestly.
Tell them to fuck off. They're not your people. So.
You know what's funny? It wasn't until I've met my new partner where I've always just been like the little ant that like hides away, doesn't talk up, like is very quiet. And now I'm just like, nah, bitch. Get fucked. See you later. Like, it's hard to, I think, you know, being in business, we go through like stages, like you were saying, like at the start, like, you know, we've come from a very, I don't want to say traumatic, but like, you know, we we don't know ourselves. We don't know what we're like. We've just had babies and we've been a carrier for so long. And then now we're a mum and then we're this and then we're that. And then it's all these other little things. We lose ourselves, and then, you know, starting businesses, we're not going to be the same person we were when we started to what we are now. And I can 100% say I'm not the same, but it's like nice to look back and see like how much you've grown and how much like your business has flourished and how you've flourished, and like what you wouldn't do 4 years ago, you now do because you don't care. And like how you were saying, like telling people to fuck off. Like, I just love that because yes, we are our business owners. Yes, we need to be professional. But then it's also like, this is our business, our babies. Like if someone's going to disrespect that, don't let them in. Don't let them have any bit of that, because their negative energy is going to bring you down, and then that's not okay.
There's two things I've heard during my time as a business owner that I always just remember. The first one was, do they pay your bills?
Yeah.
And if not, F off. And the second one was, you know, like say you're on your deathbed. Sorry, I was about to get people.
No, it's fine.
And instead of being surrounded by family and friends, imagine that you're surrounded by regrets, missed opportunities, things you should have done. And how do you look at it and feel that way? Or things you did in spite of others, like you wanted to do something, but someone told you it would be a horrible idea, or they didn't support you, or whatever it is. How would you imagine that? And I was like, that would be horrendous. I would hate to be on my deathbed and go, I wanted to start an awards program, but everyone told me because it'll be
not to.
You know, I wanted to write a book, or I wanted to start a business, but I didn't because of whatever else. And I think those two things stuck with me. And then as I was journeying through my own journey through imposter syndrome, I was finding out that like 70% of women were not starting businesses because of imposter syndrome. So the fact you've started a business and it's rocking on is amazing. You've already ahead of 70% of women who are sitting at home going, I can't do this. I'm an imposter. I'm not able to do it. So the fact that you're already doing that is like, you're amazing.
Thank you.
And my next question is going to be, what is your biggest achievements? But I can already see two shiny things behind you.
3.
Oh, 3. I didn't see the other one.
4.
See? So all of these amazing achievements that recognize what you're doing in business and to keep moving forward. But anyway, what is your biggest achievement? I'm just like pointing at things, but what would you feel is your biggest achievement?
Over the years, so I started R&R in 2020, so 4 years. And I think one of the biggest things that I feel like is an achievement is winning awards. I love awards. They're my favorite. I just get so excited when my name gets called. And I think too, it's a lot to put yourself out there to submit awards and applications and things and have judges read them and then judge you by that. Like, I'm happy. Like, let's have a chit chat. Let's have a FaceTime. I'll tell you all about what I do. Like, it's great. But when it's on writing, I feel like people don't fully understand you as a person because you're not having a face-to-face conversation. Like, I love face-to-face. Like, let's have a phone call. Whereas in submissions, they just read it, but they read your passion, and it's a way of, if they're taking it the way that you're saying it. But then these happened, and then I get super excited. And I'm like, okay, they understood what I was talking about. They understand my business and all that goes in behind. It's not just, okay, I take a photo on a camera, I put it on my computer, I edit it, and I send it. Like, there is just so much more throughout that process. So my biggest achievements would be getting gold and silver in 2022 for the Raw Awards. That was really exciting. And this year I placed silver for Creative of the Year for the Beam Awards. That was really exciting. And then this photo here placed ninth. This photo placed 3rd. And then there's another photo that I have, but I don't think I have it up yet. But they placed 3rd, 9th, and 10th out of a 10-section awards. So that was cool. I placed 3 times. And then that was for the Gallery Lane Awards. And then Gallery Lane is a photography magazine. So all online, they feature all these amazing photographers and speak about their journeys and like bits and bobs throughout the photography community. But I was placed in the July issue. That was pretty exciting. So my business is in a magazine.
Beautiful.
That was pretty cool. Oh, actually, this is the gallery. Have it right here. So this was my 3rd place photo. And then this was my 9th place. And then this was my 10th place. So I love entering my things, like my business, into awards. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. I do get sad when I don't place though, but that's something that I am coming to terms with, and knowing that, you know, it's the universe telling you it's not this year, it's fine, it's next year. So that's something that I'm working on, but it takes a lot to submit your work and push it out there into these creative awards. And I think I take that for granted sometimes because I feel like, oh, I've done this, I should win. But it's like there are so many other amazing businesses that do better than you, and that's okay. But it's only taken me till now to really understand that.
That's why they're good. It's good to do the awards too, because you can see who's in your industry or who is sort of in the same stuff as you. I love the fact that you mentioned the written submission versus talking more face-to-face. And that's why with the ALIBI Awards, we do the video submission. Some people, when they submit that, they're talking to someone because it makes them feel better. And some people are just reading whatever that they've prepared. But it was to also, because in written stuff, sometimes you can't convey your passion, whereas it's easier to talk about it. And that's why we have the video submission. So you can just go, this is what I do and this is me. And, you know, we don't care if you've got no makeup on or your hair's
See, I love that. I love that.
It's just you going, well, it's all real and raw, right? So it's all
pun intended.
This is what my business is about. But yeah, and I think with awards, and I know with ALIBI as well, this is why we provide feedback, if anyone requests it, so we can say, okay, this is where we felt your submission could be whatever, better, or this is what is out there. But meeting the people who are doing similar work to you, or very like same stuff, and they might be in a completely different side of Australia, or they could be doing more, I don't know, business photography because you do motherhood stuff. It's so interesting to see them also out there doing the amazing work that they're doing, and then have that time to go, hey, I'm a finalist with you. We're not in competition. Let's just have a chat about it. And get to know them and that. So I think awards are a beautiful process to enter.
And it brings people together.
Yeah, and it's always good back to just review and reflect. Like, how often are people reflecting on their business? Like, I know recently I was like, I need to reflect on where it started, where it is, and sort of where I want it to go. Or is there something I'm not happy with that doesn't feel in an alignment that it's time to let go of?
Yes.
And sometimes you don't know that because you're not reviewing and reflecting. And because we're so busy working in the business and not on the business, we tend to forget. So I think awards are like a great little nudge to go, sit down, look at what you've done, look at what you've look at what a challenge has been. Like, could you have looked at that any differently? So I think that's awesome. And you have so much beautiful stuff. So congratulations.
Thanks.
Is there any advice you wish you had been given when you started your business?
Definitely not listen to other people. And it's funny how you said imposter syndrome, because that was me at the start.
Yeah.
I just had a baby in a retail job and knew at some point in my life I wanted to have a photography business. I knew that was my main goal, but there was a few people that I thought were meant to be supportive that weren't supportive. And every cool idea I had, it was just shut down straight away. Like, no, that's not going to work. That's this, that's that, blah, blah. And I was like, why can't someone be positive? Like, why can't someone be like, that is the best idea. You should go do that. And I just, in the environment I was in, that just wasn't it. And there was just a lot of growth. I look back to my 2020 self, and that was a very traumatic and horrible time in my life. But I look now and I'm just so grateful for the girl back then that just found that strength to push through and not listen to anyone and start the things that you want to do and quit your retail job that that you will have income, to then starting a business where you might not get paid for 2 weeks and you're like running around trying to find food. Like, I mean, I say that, but I always made sure that like my child was always looked after, like mum mode, everything, it's sorted. But when you work for yourself, there is that vulnerability of, am I going to get money this week, or am I just going to have to eat the snacks in the cupboard for dinner? Like, it's a hit and miss when you first start your photography business. But if you think the time is right and you think what you have the passion for, that you can push that and it's going to be your life and like your little baby that you have in your hands, like, go for it. Go for it, go for it, go for it. I have people that message me asking like, how do you start? What do you do? Like, I want to do it, but I don't know what. And I'm like, grab a camera, go find your niche. As soon as you find your niche, that's going to make it 10 times easier to thrive and push into that one section. I found that at the start, like I was doing like multiple different things and it just didn't feel right. Whereas motherhood, it was right. I knew it was right. I had a passion for it. I could relate to these mothers. And everything just like, I mean, you own your business. It's not going to be glidey, but like it felt glidey. It felt right. Like that just was what needed to happen. And I mean, I loved working, going and like meeting different people and serving them and selling them jewelry. But then it's also like, the pressure of you need to upsell, you need to have 5 things in your baskets, your KPIs need to be this, you need to do this, and you need to do that, you need to greet them within 30 seconds of walking into the store. Who wants to be greeted within 30 seconds of the store and have a sales assistant right next to them 24/7 while they're looking in a shop?
Oh, I leave.
Fuck that.
I straight up leave. I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks.
It's the thing, like we didn't want to do that because we're young. We know that that's not what people want. Older people like grannies and grandpas, yeah, okay, they need some extra assistance. That's totally fine. But not everyone is social butterflies. Some people like to be in their little shell. They like to be quiet and they like to just look. That's me. I love that. And then being in that industry, there's just so much pressure. And I was like, okay, like if I need to work hard, I'll work hard. But when you start getting complaints from customers, like you need to back off, like that's then kind of like, it's not me, I promise. Like I'm being forced to do this. And I don't want to be forced to do something I don't want to do. Who wants to be forced to do something they don't want to do? So doing this business, it's free range. I can do what I want. If I want to go lay in bed all day today, that is what I'm doing. If I want to go to the shop, if I want to go hang out with Paige, like it's just, I can do whatever I want, but I can still work when I want and pay my bills and do this and document families. And it's great. And it's honestly a great business to get into if you're a mom. Like it's great. Just, you know, you can work from home, you can work your schedule, but you're still home for those special moments. Like Paige started prep this year and everything that's been at school, under 8th day, assembly, just all these little things, and being able to be there of an afternoon and pick her up and not send her somewhere else, like that is something that I love. Because my mom's a school teacher, so it was always, I've got to teach a class, I don't get out until 3:30, blah 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 blah. And it's like, I don't want to not be available for my child. I want to be there at everything, always, camera in hand, I'm ready to go. But I think too, like if you have a passion, go for it. Go for it. And if you want to make it your business, make it your business, make it your baby, because it's the imposter syndrome. You don't think it's going to do this, you don't think it's going to do that, but you will be quite shocked 4 years down the track of how far you've come because you never would have thought you would get this far. I don't know if I answered that like how you
did. No, you did. So those 70% of women that are like, should I start the business? Kaylee is just saying, bloody do it. Like, it's
really? Come on, let's go. And I think too, like, it's just like the type of person I am. Like, if I want something, I'm not taking no for an answer. And I've like experienced that in past relationships and things. And it's like, no, if I want to do this, I'm doing it. You can't tell me what I can and can't do. I'm doing it. So I think having that type of attitude too, in a way, helped the imposter syndrome, because it's like, no, I want to do it. I'm going to do it. And it's happening. And during those years of experiencing business and getting into this mindset, it's like, you don't care what people say. If they think you're not going to win, it's like, okay, well, what's this? Like, ask me 4 years ago if my work's going to be in a magazine and I have my name on the trophy, I would have said, no. But now look, like, and it just pushes me to thrive better. And I think that's what's great, is because, you know, you stay in a spot in your life. You don't want to stay in that one spot. I mean, you can if you like, if that's your comfort zone, go for gold. But I always want to be doing better. I want to keep pushing. Like, let's go. What's next year going to happen? I mean, I never thought I'd be on a podcast, and now I'm on a podcast, and I'm like, wow, that's exciting.
So now you just need one of those purple shiny trophies from ALIBI behind you.
Yes, please. I didn't get last year, so let's do this.
Yeah, you need to get one this year, and then done. No, that's awesome.
I need a 2024 one as well.
Yes, that's true, a 2024 one. But you said you got one for Beam. Is that silver?
Yes, I got one for Beam. Yeah, I love angel numbers. They're like my thing, and it comes back down to 22. So my daughter was due on the 22nd. My nan passed away on the 22nd. Flip that around. My nan was amazing. She was my best friend. If I cry, I do apologize. But she was just great. And I know that she would just be so proud of me. And it's just sad she's not here. But this is the whole thing about like photos, like they're time capsules. Like I am so sad that I never got nice photos with my nan or my pop, or, you know, time just goes so quick and you don't know, like days are limited. You don't know when someone's not going to be here anymore. And I definitely took a lot of that for granted when I was younger, because I didn't understand like how, what's the word? It's not vulnerable. Something that like not limited days are.
Finite?
No, I've never heard that word before though.
Finite means you only have a certain amount. I always heard that, you know, time is not a renewable resource.
Yeah. So but pretty much that. And like when you're a teenager, like it's like friends, like let's go out, like, you know, it's just that, and you just take away those things for granted. And looking back, like it's something that I regret. And I mean, I wouldn't say I was never there, but like I wish I was there more than I was. But just even coming back to 22, like that's just the date that she passed away. And then it was a date my daughter was due. So it was just like a sign from her that like, this is your gift from me. And just whenever I see 22, it's just like my like angel number. So it's just like I have it tattooed twice on me too. So it's like got to be twice. So just 22 is a spirit number and 24 is my favorite number. It's always been my favorite number. So another 24 to add to the two 22s.
A purple crystal trophy behind
yes.
that. Okay.
Yes, and there's crystals everywhere throughout my office. So some more will be fun.
So what's your ultimate goal for your business? Like the big, hairy, scary goal, if you want to share it, what is it?
So this has only been recent. Well, not recent, but I do want to venture into a studio space. I feel like when you are a lifestyle outdoor photographer, it does get tricky when it's raining and things like that. Like you can't go and work, which is shit, but it is what it is. It's funny because like when we have clients, like, well, it's really windy today, it's raining, like I have to reschedule. I'm so sorry. I wish I could just flick it on off. Like it's sunny, it's rainy, it's sunny, it's rainy. But the goal is to have a studio so I can cater for other clients when it is raining or it is doing not so great things. I then have another space where I can bring people. And it's also like a nice, comfortable space if clients don't want to be out in public and around other people, because that's basically what it is. It's like a beach. There's your client, and then there's like beach goers and walks and dogs and everything else around you. Some people like to be more secluded in a space. So having just a safe space studio where there's like kitchens, lounges, just a whole fun space where people can come, that is like the main goal. I have it all in my head, but it's just bringing it to life. But I don't want to rush it. I want it to be perfect. I want the timing to be perfect. I want everything to be perfect. I don't want to half-ass it. Then the next thing is podcast, but mine would more so be about like photography and business related, but then also digging deeper into motherhood and the postpartum and mother's stories and like all of just the fucked up shit that happens in motherhood because no one talks about it. And how you were saying before about, you know, like we're programmed like those things happen, but we've got to put up like, you know, armor and things. Like no one talks about miscarriages. No one, you know, and if you bring it up and if you bring it on social media, you're attention seeker, you're this, you're that. And it's just like, no, like so many mothers resonate with that because they have experienced that. We just feel like in a society we're not allowed to talk about it, which is really fucking shit.
Well, it's really surprising too, because on social media, anyone can get on there and talk about any piece of crap they want to talk about, which makes no sense or isn't relevant. Yep. But then these really important, normal female issues such as miscarriages or even stillbirths or things like that, never, it's like, oh, no, we don't want to hear about that. But then you know, this whole thing about social media is to put a platform and talk about important issues. So let's stop worrying about celebrity crap and let's talk about stuff that happens to real people and real women. Because even like the stats on those things are quite high. They happen I don't want to say a lot, but they're more common than we believe them to be.
I think it was like 1 in 30. I think it was less than that. No, it's got to be less than that. It's something, but there's been a percent made about it. But like since having my miscarriage last year, like I know of like 5 other mums who have experienced that. That's only in my social network. Like there is billions upon billions upon billions of people in the world. Like everyone, like I'm not going to say everyone, but like I feel like majority of women have experienced that and have felt like they couldn't speak about it, or they could only tell like a small little circle because fear of judgment, but then like attention seeking. Like, oh, it just pisses me off. Like if I'm being honest, it gets me so fucking angry because we shouldn't be silenced for something that happened within us. And it is a very sad moment in so many women's lives where they need support at that time and it's just not there.
So I just looked it up quickly while we were talking.
No, you're fine.
So miscarriage occurs in 25% of known pregnancies.
Yeah.
And they don't all occur before you reach 7 weeks. Sometimes it can be between the 8 to 12 week. But if we look at the Royal Women's Hospital in Australia, they have said that some women have, you know, very early miscarriages. They estimate around 285 miscarriages occur every day in Australia.
That is fucked.
285. And that's from miscarriageaustralia.com.au.
That is
fucked. Fact check me. That's what I've looked at. That's a massive thing. If you think about it, it's got a population of like 26 million or something.
Yeah.
It's a lot happening for people to think that you're attention seeking. So I think, as we talked about, the vulnerability and the sharing and being authentic, like the right people resonate and they will come to you. And I think it's really time to get those female issues out there. Like, and I know there's some amazing businesswomen such as yourself that are sharing it. I know I did a podcast a while ago now with a lady that talked about menopause. I'm going to go through menopause in like 10, 15 years. And I had no bloody idea about any of it until I started hearing her speak. And I was like, why are we not being taught that? And as a mum of girls, I was like, I need to be all over that and make sure my girls know about these things. Like miscarriages and the menopause. So,
because it's not like it's something you get taught in school. Like you just get taught science, you get taught this, you get taught that. And it's like, no one cares. I left school in grade 10. I hated it. I dropped out. I was like, nah. When I got my diploma in makeup, hey?
Even the sex education, I just remember being told, here's a condom, here's a banana. What the like? What?
I didn't even have that. I didn't have that. Nah. The day before, how's this? Okay, this is getting really TMI, so here we go. But I had no idea what a period was. None at all. Nah. Didn't have any of that conversation. Didn't even have sex ed. Like, this was back when I was 9 though. So the day before my 10th birthday, I got my period. And I was like, Mum, what is this? I remember it clear as day. I remember the house we were at. It was just a moment I'm not going to ever forget. And it was just like, that's your period. We'll have to go and have a conversation. And I'm like, what? I am bleeding. Like, what? This isn't normal. Am I going to die? Am I like, what?
No.
And then every month it's like, I don't want this every month.
That's so early. I got mine at about 12 and same thing.
Yeah.
I came out of the bathroom and I said to my mum, like, what is this? And I'm the eldest of 7. So like I thought, trial ground. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
We'll need to go to the shop and get you some stuff. And then she gave me an anatomy textbook and said, read it.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. But isn't it like 2 women here?
Yeah.
To make sure we do better for our daughters. I think
exactly. Yes, that's what I'm like.
Do better for our daughters. All right. So, being the expert motherhood photography lady, what would you be like one tip or one taste test you'd give the listeners about? It can be about photography, it can be about motherhood, it can be about anything. What is one tip you'd give the listeners?
Don't feel small. Don't feel like your words are not listened to. If you want to do something, you go and do it, and you change the environment that you're in to better what you want in life. Don't stay because it's a baby daddy. Don't stay because it's a mum or a dad or a brother or a sister. Like, branch out. You don't need these people. Yes, it's sad to cut ties with things, but if they're going to bring you down, they're not people to have in your life.
I love that.
Thanks.
All right. So how do we stalk you? Where do we find you?
We love a stalk. I stalk all the time. So you can stalk me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm all there. I'm a bit quiet at the moment, but that's just me in my head. But I will plan on posting a lot more. I feel like I need to be more on stories and lives and things. It's just a bit vulnerable at the minute. So just know that just because someone is running a business, they do go through their personal things, but they are still there and they are still waiting to hear from you.
That's a very good point. So we'll find you on Instagram and Facebook under Real and Raw Photography.
Yeah, and the same on TikTok.
Beautiful. Oh, TikTok as well. Awesome.
Yes.
And of course, if you want to reach out and speak to Kaylee, you can through the Australian Ladies in Business group. Just look up Kaylee Kimpton. You can stalk her there. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Sorry, I just cut you off. I got excited.
No, I'm really thank you. And I really enjoyed the chat. And, we covered so many different bases rather than just hey, tell me about your photography business journey. So I absolutely loved that. And I really appreciate you coming on and being so vulnerable. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And thank you for giving me a safe space to speak. It's always nice to have a place where you feel comfortable and you feel like you are able to voice how you feel, because it does get very isolating when there's not that around.
No worries. And I look forward to having this conversation with you next year and then like seeing a really cool purple shiny trophy behind you.
Yeah, I'm so excited right here.